Okay, good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, whatever time you're listening to the interview. And I can sum it up in one word: Paris. This is it. This Abby Haley does a great job. She's living right in the heart of Paris, and she tells us all about it. And again, I write this. The more people I do with France, the more I'm enamored with the country and the culture, and it makes me really want to go. So it's a great interview. Listen up and let me know if you have any questions. As always. All right, thanks, guys.
The three biggest reasons only 10% of students study abroad: they're afraid of being homesick, they don't think it's safe, and the number one reason people don't study abroad is cost. We're here to dispel all that, find out exactly how that 10% crafted their study abroad journey, and how you can too. I'm Chris Carlton, and this is the Study Abroadcast.
Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Study Abroadcast. This is Chris Carlton here with Abby Haley of Ithaca College in New York, but she is coming to us from Paris today. Abby, thank you very much for being here and welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. This is exciting.
You're welcome. And just getting started, why Paris? Why did you decide on Paris?
Right. So it was very much an analytical decision. My major at school is pretty credit heavy, and then I'm double minoring, so I had to make sure that all of my classes abroad would count towards my degree in some way. So one of my minors is art history, and I'm able to take more art history courses here in Paris than anywhere else in the world. So that's what I'm doing. I'm taking a full semester of art history, and then I'm going to transfer that all back.
Yeah, wow. I always talk about Paris food, and then you completely forget that the Louvre is there and Paris is art, and it's just there's so many reasons to go to Paris, so that definitely made sense. And then also too, I've heard of double majors. I've never heard of double minors before, so that's pretty cool that you're doing that. I didn't know that. Well, I think I did know that you could do that, but you're the first interview I think I've had that's been a double minor. And
Cool.
So when you were setting up your trip, and so it seems pretty obvious why you decided to do Paris. What Why did you decide a semester versus a year versus the summer? Why this semester, not spring semester? And then also, what program did you decide to do? Are you doing an exchange? Are you doing a third-party program? Are you interning? Like, tell me about that stuff.
Right. I'm going to try and hit all those points, but I might need a reminder.
I will. That's why I'm here. Yeah.
Okay, so I went with the semester because, like I said, I had to make sure that all my credits and things would transfer over. So if I did any more than a semester, it was unlikely that I would be able to graduate on time and get all that stuff to work out. But studying abroad was really a priority to me, so I made sure that I could at least do one semester. I'm studying abroad with CEA, which is, I believe, a third-party program. A lot of people have been asking me what university I'm studying at here, and I never know how to answer because technically my credits are coming through the University of New Haven in the States, but I'm just studying at the CEA Center with their program. And then what was there was one question?
Well, no. So what your classes, right? Are they with all other international students?
They're with other students from the United States. So technically we're all international, but we're all coming from the States.
Okay, and then they're in English, I'm assuming, right?
All of my classes, besides my French class, are in English, yes.
Besides your French class. And then, the other question, did you apply for were you able to get any scholarships or grants or anything like that?
Right. So through Ithaca, I'm not sure if other schools work this way, there are affiliated and unaffiliated study abroad programs. And if you were to do an unaffiliated study abroad program, you would technically take a leave of absence for a semester from your university experience. So from going to Ithaca, it would be similar to if you were to take a semester off and study at a community college and then transfer those credits in which case, you take a leave of absence, so you don't get any of your financial aid, any of the scholarships that you're currently receiving, and then once you come back, you have to reapply to get them. So I decided to go with an affiliated program, which, depending on how you break the numbers down, can sometimes be more expensive, but that way I could keep all of the scholarships that I had previously received and all the financial aid that I'm getting from Ithaca. So I don't know that I'm getting any specific scholarships for study abroad, but all of the scholarships that I applied for before going to college and then throughout my college experience, they're all applying towards this semester.
Right, so it sounds like making sure the credits transferred were a top priority for you then.
Right, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and then, so wait, let me ask you, what year are you right now?
A junior.
You're a junior. And then was there any reason that you decided to go in the fall as opposed to the spring?
Yeah, there definitely was. I don't know if this is like a good answer, but I turned 21 in January, and I didn't want to turn 21 somewhere that I could already drink, so I went in the fall instead of the spring. And then I also
very
big
collegiate
friend
answer.
Oh,
What?
sorry.
Yeah. No, I was just gonna say it's a very collegiate answer. That makes sense.
Wanted to make sure that we all went abroad the same semester, so that we weren't away from each other for a whole year. So that was a pretty big factor too.
Oh yeah, that's definitely a big. So do you have any friends that you're over there with now? Like,
I don't know anyone in Paris.
well, that's good.
And that was kind of
Yeah,
intentional too. I wanted to have like my own study abroad experience.
yeah.
But a couple of my friends, I have a friend in Spain, a friend in London, and a friend in Dublin. So we've met up in various cities over here.
So it's like divide and conquer then, huh?
Yeah, for
And
sure. It's really cool.
tell me about your living situation. Are you with a host family or an apartment or a dorm? Do you have roommates?
Right. I'm in a studio apartment. So you're sitting on my bed right now, and then this other bed, there's like a few feet in between them. It's a really, really tiny flat. But I lucked out. My roommate and I get along very well. And we're in the heart of Paris, so you can't really complain.
Oh, nice. That yeah, you can't really complain at all in the heart of Paris. Is it student? Is it a student apartment or is it just like a regular, normal apartment that the university hooked you up with?
So sorry, could you say it one more time? You're breaking up.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Was it a student apartment or is it like just a regular apartment that the university hooked you up with?
I believe the apartment complex is, or no, I know for sure it's not just students in here. I actually think that some of the apartments in here are like not studios because sometimes I hear like children. Like I think there's families that live here too, but it was set up through the program that I'm studying with.
Right. And then so you mentioned that your classes they're all in like it's a CEA building. Is that right?
Yes.
So you're not going to like a host school, for example, right?
Right.
Okay, and what are the classes like? Are they different? Is it just like going to the classes in the United States, or are they different at all? Or what's the scheduling like? How does that work?
Uh, my schedule out here is a dream. I
Oh,
think I really lucked out. I only have classes Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, so I have a 4-day weekend every weekend to travel and do cool stuff. Um, But the courses are different from my home university in the sense that almost once a week for one of the 4 classes that I'm taking, we're going on an excursion, so somewhere in the city of Paris. Two of my courses are very Paris-based. One of them is history of architecture in Paris, and the other is about 19th century art in Paris. So it's pretty specific. Like we'll go to museums or we'll go to monuments and things, which I think is really helpful because we could easily be taking these courses in the United States, but we wouldn't be getting the same thing out of them because we don't have the ability to obviously go to all those places.
right. Like, yeah, that's so much different, and I wish that everyone could do that. But let's start. We're gonna study, and then we're gonna do a project on this, and then we're gonna go there, and then there you
Yeah,
are,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
I mean, it's super cool for one thing, but it's also like I'm definitely learning a lot more. I'm able to take in a lot more of the art by being able to see it in person, or understanding different architectural elements, which I didn't really know before. I can put a sort of like a face to a name. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
No, yeah, it definitely makes sense. And what you said you said the excursions on almost a weekly basis, right? How much
Hmm.
of that, like, let's say, just to get a percentage, let's say you had 10 weekends free. Like, how many of those weekends are something that CEA is doing something with you for, and how many of them do you just have free to go off and do whatever you want?
Um, in the whole semester, I think maybe there's 5 like day trips or weekend trips that we can sign up for. Um, but the nice thing is that you can sign up for them. You don't necessarily have to. Of course, I've tried to go on all of them because technically it's like rolled into I don't have to pay any extra to go on them. It's like rolled into the fee.
Yeah,
Um,
so you obviously want to sign up for all of them, right?
right. Crazy
Yeah.
not to do. And then they also have been really helpful. They have a lot of events and conferences and things like that. Actually, after this interview, they're having some sort of like wine tasting convention thing at the CEA center that I'm going to. I was able to go to a France-Germany soccer game here with CEA. They have a lot of cool stuff going on.
So it sounds like they take care of a lot of that for you. That's probably one of the best parts about doing it. And so you mentioned that you have all these friends. Have you visited any of them, or are any of them going to visit you while you're there, or do you have any trips planned for outside of Paris? And tell me about that stuff.
Yes, 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 and yes.
And then and then also maybe another yes. Is there some like a travel story that sticks out to you? Like everyone has something that's gone wrong. Like the bus broke down, or they took like they went the wrong place. So is there a story like that? So is that another yes on top of the other
Yeah,
four
another
yeses?
yes, for
Okay.
sure.
All right. Yeah. Tell me about that a little.
So I've met up with two of my friends who we aren't able to go to each other's cities. We met up in Barcelona for a weekend, which was really, really nice, just to see like a familiar face, you know.
Yeah.
And then my very best friend who's studying in London right now, he stayed with me for a weekend here, and vice versa. I stayed with him in London for a weekend, which was really a lot of fun again. Um, so far, I've gone to Rome, Barcelona, Amsterdam. I've gone to a couple other cities in France. Um, I'm blanking right now. I think there's another place that I've been. But I'm also planning to go to Vienna and to Poland. So a lot of cool. And I'm actually traveling significantly less than other people in my program, which is amazing. Anyways,
No. Yeah. No. It's crazy how much people travel over there. Like.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know why. Like, I wish people would bring that mentality to. I know it's hard with work and the cost and everything, but just And so now so you said you traveled to all these places. What about was there? You talking about the friend to London? Was that the epic travel story that you were talking about, or has anything gone completely wrong or right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So just maybe 2 weeks ago, I was traveling to Amsterdam and I took a bus from Paris to Amsterdam, and it was kind of grueling. It was like 8.5 hours, 9 hours, something like that. But it was only like 15 euros. Like it's so cheap, I couldn't pass it up. Um, and the bus stopped in Belgium I don't even know where in Belgium, but to refuel to get more gas. So we're off the bus in Belgium for 20 minutes, not even, and my phone was stolen. So really not ideal at all in your life, but especially when you're going from like one foreign city to another. Like I wasn't even in one of the cities. I didn't really have a home base. I don't know any of the languages. Um, it was really a time to just like, I don't even think of myself as somebody who's really attached to my phone, but like when you lose like your contact with people from home, your maps, you know what I mean? It was just really,
Was it a smartphone?
it was an iPhone.
So who steals? Why? How can they get into it? I don't understand. Like why?
I don't
You
know
know what I
because
mean?
I like
Like
locked it and I know like they're
yeah,
not reading anything.
yeah. I don't
It also
understand.
was cracked. I really don't know what the point was.
Well,
But yeah, that was a learning
that's a
experience.
different. Yeah, getting inside the mind of a thief. That's an interview for a separate occasion. But
Yeah,
okay,
seriously.
so your phone got stolen, but were you like you're still alive, right? No, you're not.
Yeah, right.
Nothing happened,
So
but
I sort of realized like my phone was stolen en route to in Belgium en route to Amsterdam from Paris. Like that's not really I can't really complain about the rest of the sentence, you know?
yeah.
So having no phone for a week was honestly kind of refreshing and made me really it made me realize like I don't need just because I don't have pictures of all the places that I went to anymore because I ended up losing my photos, doesn't mean that I didn't have that experience. And that was really like refreshing to realize that I don't have to be like to prove myself all the time or like to have validation from other people. Like I can just experience these things on my own, and that's all that mattered all along, you know?
That's a really good like way to put a positive spin on it, almost like a blessing in disguise. And then you've got
Yeah.
other. I'm sure you were traveling with other people there who could take pictures too. So
Yes,
you're set with that.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
but yeah, there's I don't know. Bill Burr he's a comedian and he does this bit like, can you imagine like when you were a little kid you'd run outside all the time, and then when you're an adult like you can't imagine leaving your house without your keys and your phone and your wallet, and it just seems like insane to do. But
Yeah. So true.
yeah. So okay. And then now I've got to ask. This is my favorite part. You're in Paris, and I've got to ask you about the food. Tell me about like what's your favorite part of food in Paris and France. You're talking about you've got a wine tasting after this tonight. So and then
Yes.
also I mean wine is phenomenal too. But and then so Paris, and then maybe like of all the other places you've been, is there anything else that you've tried that really blew your socks off?
Yes. Um, I'm really living up to that Parisian stereotype of like always having a baguette under my arm. I thought it was sort of a joke that people really walked around with baguettes in their bags all day long, but it is really the truth, and I really am doing that. I eat like a baguette a day. And then my recent obsession is cheese plates. Like, come on, they're just so good. I can't get enough. Um, and my roommate and I have made like a point to try wines and stuff because for maybe like the first half of the semester we really didn't drink drink wine, and we were like, what's the point of being in Paris if we're not like taking advantage of this? Like we're
Yeah.
in the city of wine.
Yeah.
So we started doing that, and I've gotten really into like what cheese pairs with what wine, and what wine pairs with what dinner, and that sort of like just things that I'm like guilty pleasures that I'm allowing myself while I'm studying abroad. And then I went to Rome a few weeks back, and eating the pasta in Italy was like trying a new food. Like it was just so good and so much better than, even your grandma's homemade pasta. Like it's unreal.
See, that's crazy. Like, I don't know how. Like, it is, and I've heard it is, but how do they do it? Like, is it like you've heard that they have like in the United States, the closest thing I can think of is like they ship like water to make bagels from New York to LA. That's a thing. I don't know if you've heard of it, but I don't know if it's the water they use. Yeah, I don't know if it's the water they use or like. But how is the pasta? Like, you put it in a pot and you boil it. And,
I know.
Like, I don't know how it's so much different, but yeah.
How you can do it like better or worse, but they really do it better.
Yeah, Well, they invented it, so that's probably why. and then also, so would you go to so Ithaca? So let me ask you, where are you from? Like,
I grew up in South Jersey, so near Philadelphia.
okay, so near Philadelphia, but you didn't. So a lot of people like I talk to, studying abroad, it's like aside from the obvious like international experience and everything, it's kind of like a dress rehearsal living in a big city. So for a lot of people, like for most of them, it's the first time living in a large metropolitan area. So how have you adjusted to that? Like the public transportation, you don't have a car. Like what's it been like to live in a city like that? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Tell me about that a little.
It's funny that you say that because I didn't realize that was the case. A lot of people here that I've talked to were kind of like, it was like jarring at first to come here because it is a city, and like cities can sometimes be dirty and smelly and noisy, and you know what I mean, and not like the Paris that you think of when
Yeah.
But like I said, I grew up near Philly, not in the city, but just around the city a lot. And cities are just like, I really feel comfortable there. I go to school in upstate New York, and it was really like, I didn't expect myself to pick to go to school somewhere like that,
Yeah.
So studying abroad in Paris is like coming home. Like the city is just where I love to be.
Nice. Okay, good. Yeah, no, I've been to Ithaca before too. I think it's beautiful up there.
Oh my gosh, no way. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's gorgeous.
Yeah. Okay, and then do you have any recommendations as far as maybe a book that you've read or like a blog or a website or an app or something?
Regarding like study abroad.
Anything, like any book that you really like, or I don't know, like blogs that you read in preparation for the trip, or apps that you use for like efficiency or anything. I don't know.
I'll try and give maybe like one for each.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, let me grab the book because it's over here. So I can't really say if it's good or bad because I'm still reading it right now, but Parisians read on the metro all the time. That's something I noticed right away. Is I feel like in New York City or in Philly, when you get on public transportation, people are always on their phones, but in Paris, they are really genuinely, most people are reading physical books, which is really cool and really refreshing. So I bought myself, it's called A Little Too Bright by Scott Miller. I just found it in like an English bookstore here, so that's what I'm reading right now.
Yeah.
In preparation for coming over here, I watched a lot of travel YouTube videos. And then CEA also has a study abroad collaboration with between the students in the program regarding like blog posts and YouTube videos and stuff, which were also really helpful resources for me coming out here. I actually packed according to the studio apartment tour that was online. which was very helpful because I ended up living in that exact studio, which is funny.
Yeah.
And then as for apps, I would recommend downloading City Mapper. Normally, like in the States, I use Google Maps to get me everywhere, but City Mapper is catered specifically for each city's metro or public transportation system. So whereas Google Maps will just give you like the quickest way to get somewhere, City Mapper will let you know if there's lines that are delayed or stops. Stops that are closed, which is really helpful. Okay. And it like whenever you land in a place, it switches your location automatically, so that's helpful as well.
Oh, that's what I was just going to ask. Is it specific to Paris? But it's just, is it everywhere? Is it in the United States too, or is it just Europe?
I believe it's in the United
right?
States.
You haven't done it.
Yeah. This is true. I haven't. Yeah. I use maps at home, but it's got every major city that I've been to. So I think so.
Yeah. No. And then I was just going to ask. You were talking about the Parisian book. Do most Parisians speak English? Like, would you say? Like,
a majority of Paris speaks English. I wouldn't. My perspective is a little bit different because I just came back from Amsterdam maybe 2 weeks ago, and literally every person speaks English there. Like they sometimes will speak English to you before speaking Dutch. And in France, most people, or at least in Paris, most people speak English. But I think the difference is that in Amsterdam, they just speak English right away, and in France, they don't let you immediately know that they speak English. Like maybe they'll let you struggle speaking French, and then they'll answer you in English, and you're like, but yeah, most people do know English.
Okay. All right. And then what advice would you give to a student, like if you had a little brother or sister, or like a friend who's coming along, what advice would you give them if they're on the bubble about studying abroad and thinking about and kicking it around the idea and not really sure if they should go?
I cannot recommend studying abroad enough. I have always wanted to do this. It was always a goal of mine. I was never really on the fence about it, but I have grown and enjoyed myself so much more than I ever could have hoped that I did, and in ways that I would have never expected. So it's hard to give advice because it's such a unique experience, but I do it.
Yeah.
That's my advice. Do it.
Yeah, like a Nike commercial, right? I don't know. Just jumping back to,
yes.
Did you have any? So you said you've been wanting to do it, and you knew you were going to do it like the entire time. Did you have any fears or reservations before you went? Like, were you scared about the traveling or living? I'm assuming this is the first time you lived in a different country. Were you afraid at all, or were you just ready to jump in and go?
No, I definitely was afraid. I think actually during the whole process of making things happen, I was like the least afraid. It wasn't until it was really like actually truly happening that I started to worry about. I spent the summer away from home. I lived with my grandparents and like 6 hours from home, so I haven't seen my family in a very long time, and so I'm not really like a homesicky kind of person. You know, I went to school 4.5 hours away from my hometown, that kind of stuff. Being independent doesn't really faze me at all, but has finally started to hit me that, you know, like my family is really important to me and I miss them a lot, and I was worried that it would be sort of like crippling or take away from my experience here, but that's not the case at all. It's just instead it's like a really nice reminder that I have people that care about me no matter where I go. And I also had sort of like a nightmare time getting out here, which made me like really nervous right before I left. I had all kinds of trouble getting my visa, and then I finally got my visa, got on my flight. I took a connecting flight from Philadelphia to Boston, and then my flight from Boston to Paris got canceled, so I was stuck in Boston, and I was like, oh my God, like, this better be the trip of my life, because it's been so much stress getting out here, but it really has been, like, worth it times a million.
Yeah, no, good. And, okay, and then you mentioned this before, but this was a different question, but I think you already answered it. Like how studying abroad has changed your view of the world since living there, and you already answered it, so don't worry about that because it definitely has. And then finally, do you have a favorite quote you want to share with us?
I have so many quotes. My dad, ever since I was little. So when I was in elementary school and middle school and high school, he would put a note in my lunchbox every day with like an inspirational quote. And then when I went away to college, we were both kind of sad because we thought that would be the end of it. But every weekday he texts me a little quote. So that's why I have so many quotes. But let me look up a good one. Isn't that so nice? He's the best. So one of my go-to favorite quotes is from James Dean, "Only the gentle are ever really strong." Um,
Uh,
and I like that a lot. I think um, it's good to remember out here because especially after losing my phone, I was like so paranoid and so reserved. But that's not the point. Like you get to see all these beautiful things and the earth is so beautiful. Like don't let it harm you. Do you know
yeah,
what I'm saying? Does that make
yeah.
sense?
No,
I don't know
yeah,
if I did.
definitely.
'Cause I don't-
No. Yeah, that is that's a really good one. You're the first James Dean quote that I've had, or
Yeah,
someone who's done James Dean.
I
And
love
then
James.
you told me you've got oh yeah, when are you coming home?
Right. I actually haven't booked my flight home yet. That's on my agenda for this coming week. But I believe I'm coming home December 18th, so halfway through December.
That's kind of yeah. Everyone just comes home right before Christmas, basically.
Yeah, I don't want to be
Yeah.
away from that.
Okay. All right. And then, is there anything else you want to add?
Uh, I don't think so.
Oh,
I have like
wait.
all
You
these
have
quotes
a
running
no,
in my
no,
head
no, no.
now.
Do you do some kind of blog, right?
I do. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm a mobile journalist for CEA.
Okay. Yeah. I will put a link to that in your show notes too.
Thank you so much. That's super cool.
Yeah. You're welcome. And yeah, that's all I've got. So Abby, thank you very much for doing this. Have fun at your wine tasting tonight. I wish I could come, but
Thank you so much.
I don't think I'll be able to make it. It's a little far for me. And yeah, you guys give us an honest review of the show. Let me know how I'm doing. Hook up on social media. And Abby, thank you very much for being here. We'll talk to you soon.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
All right, thank you.
Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed the show. Be sure to check out all the really neat infographics on the rest of the posts as well as the interviews. There's a lot of good information. You should also download Studying Abroad 201. I really recommend it if you need kind of a fire lit under your ass for studying abroad and you need some motivation. It crafts my journey and exactly what I did. Also, we can email you new interviews or you can connect with us on social media. All right, thanks a lot.